Welcome. My name is Katarzyna Antonina. My friends call me Ka, and this is a reading in the Bows. Welcome. I wanted to do a little reading today because, well, I had a wonderful session this morning with a wonderful, wonderful soul, and there was some wonderful, well, information that came through that I really wanted to share with you. You'll have to forgive me for saying wonderful so many times, but it really was a good morning. And the gist of the conversation kind of went like this. What you are vibrating, rather, what you are feeling in your private time is actually radiating out into the world as your public experiences. And so, more now than ever before, it's important for us to stop beating ourselves up and to let go of this feeling that we're not enough and that we can suffer privately and not have any effect on our outside world or experiences. In many ways, that's an old way of thinking. When we used to have a lot more time between what we thought about and the kinds of experiences we got as a result. These days, you might find that almost as quickly as you think something, you're having the experience of it. And so there's very little lag between you and yourself. So, living an experience, a dual kind of existence, where you are wonderful on the outside in one way, where you do your best to put up a good, positive attitude when you're around others. And of course, we all do it. Every single time you go to the store or you go to the mall, you do your best to hold yourself up and to say that I'm okay. Yeah, of course, things are fine when you run into somebody you know. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. But when you go home and you're in your private time, now you're faced with your own personal emotions and feelings about yourselves. And if you find yourself beating yourself up a lot, then ultimately that private time becomes your public experience, which means that people will behave in a certain way that will elicit a kind of feeling from you that you felt when you were by yourself, feeling it all by yourself. You'll have experiences that likewise rouse those feelings in you once again, only to feel them once again in private and then again keep creating this circle of experience. So let's see what we can do to move our energy forward. And I want you to kind of understand how I use the tarot deck. So this is a wonderful deck. I've been using it for a little while. I'll put a link in the bottom of this video to the actual deck and Kim Kranz, the wonderful lady who does this. And well, let's see what the collective feeling is right now and how we can move ourselves forward. So take a deep breath in. Yeah, one more time. Breathe in. Ah, and things are beginning to feel like yes. So at the heart of where we stand right now, we are truly learning how to love without binding. And that means to love ourselves without judging ourselves. And here again, we kind of circle back to the conversation we were just having about how do you feel about yourself in your private moments. And this is about loving yourself in spite of all the things that you believe are not right about you. So even though I might not feel perfect right now, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm still so hard on myself, I can forgive myself for that. So you begin to fill yourself with more positive, uplifting statements that are true and that help you to elevate the way you feel about yourself, because ultimately you don't want to keep suffering, because you now know that how you feel about yourself in your private moments does affect your outside world. And so when you prolong your own state of suffering, by not loving yourself, by being unkind to yourself, then you in fact become the creator and the generator of that And well, you find out you kind of have been all along. So this is about creating a really beautiful atmosphere of loving yourself, letting that nurturing, loving, lavishing feeling. I like lavishing yourself with love, really giving yourself the feeling that you're worth it, because you are. So then let's have a look to see, what does the mental state have to do? So what do we have to do in our mental state to achieve this beautiful love without binding feeling, this feeling like we can love ourselves without judging ourselves, without beating ourselves up? Ah, and here in the mind, we're invited to be more patient, to take our time, to not be so hard on ourselves, so hard on ourselves and so hot on our heels to hurt ourselves just because we might not be perfect. Okay? Perhaps it's time to tell your mental state that you're training it like a good puppy. And in fact, that your mental state is like a puppy. A puppy, and I know if you've worked with us before, with Danny and I, and if you've worked with us, we've heard us say this before, the brain is like a puppy. So when we work with that puppy, we accept that the brain needs the same kind of love and the same kind of guidance. So we don't kick the puppy, we don't beat the puppy up. We love the puppy. We love the brain. We thank it for its function. We say, thank you, my brain, for being so analytical, for being so good at putting things into place. Thank you so much for letting me be the intelligent being that I am. I love you, my brain. I love you and I accept your function, but I want you to know that I'm no longer comfortable with you peeing all over my carpet. And so when I see or feel that you've run amok, I'm going to put you into place gently and kindly and remind you what your task and duty is. And I'm going to assign you a really good job because you are the grand observer of my patterns. And if you see a pattern come out in me, especially in that subconscious part of me, well, I want you then very quickly to let me know so I can tap and release myself and set myself free. And in fact, let's do that now. Let's set ourselves free from this belief that we're not the ones running the whole show, at least when it comes to ourselves. Tap on the side of your hand and repeat with me. Even though I'm still so hard on myself, especially in my private time, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm still so afraid that I'm creating it all, I can forgive myself for that. Even though I still keep beating myself up because I keep moving the goalpost, I deeply and completely love and accept myself, and I release that now. On your forehead. I now release myself from beating myself up privately and then forgetting that it's creating my public profile. On the top of your head. I now release myself from all the ways I sacrifice my own happiness because I believe I'm supposed to suffer. On the back of your head. You're doing really great. I now release my subconscious mind from judging myself and beating myself up unconsciously. Over your ears. I now release my younger self from beating myself up because I was taught to do it that way. Underneath your eyes. I now release myself from feeling all tongue-tied because I'm not used to loving myself yet. I now release myself from judging myself and beating myself up so harshly because that's what I believe I'm supposed to do. On your chin. We're almost there. I now release myself. And I release my physical body from beating myself up privately and then forgetting that it's creating my public life. On your collarbones. If you want a little extra oomph, cross your arms. I now release myself from beating myself up and judging my experience so harshly. And finally, on your heart, I am safe. I feel safe. I am good. I feel good. I am peaceful. I feel peaceful. And I remember how it works. And I feel my wisdom. Now take a deep breath in. Well done. You're doing so great. So let me just point something out. You are part of and inside of a grand evolution that is moving you moment by moment into a greater form of self. Every day, as the frequencies increase around you, your cells oscillate and move faster and faster, opening up more space for the God within that has always been to become more present, and for more of that God-like substance to enter into the space between the cells, merging your non-physical with your physical so beautifully that it feels like you become one with the all that there is, and you allow life to finally lead you and love you. But it's a process, and it's not like a smooth transition. And there's going to be days where it might feel a little ouchy. At that time, we encourage you to keep applying the loving tools you use. We love TRT, our adaptation of tapping, which is tapping and release. And we love this practice so much because it shifts us forward and allows us to be conscious as these changes inside us happen. So let's have a look really quickly now and see what's on the physical side of things here for you and for all of us. Oh, this one makes a lot of sense. These two cards were in the session just prior to this, reminding us that we are practicing. We're in an active state of practicing something. And in fact, we are diving deep into the subconscious subcutaneous, I can't say the word, the level that goes into the cells themselves, that goes into the fat, into the sinew, into the muscles. We are releasing at those deeper levels, physically, physiologically, emotionally, mentally. There's a grand purging happening as the speed, the rate of the frequency around you increases. So you can't even help it. The environment itself is moving you forward. You are being driven by God itself, the all that is itself, to expand and evolve, because this is a cyclical thing. This has been predicted, which means that some have known it was coming for a very long time. And so preparations have been made in some ways because some people understand that this is happening. So there's nothing to worry about. There is more life within you now than ever before. Follow your instincts. Know that you are guided and protected. Let love lead you, and trust that you are good through and through. You came here to do good, and it feels good to be that good version of yourself. So you might as well just give in and allow yourself to live the life that comes on the other end of being the best version of yourself. You came here for that experience. And in times where it feels like things are too much, reach for your reasoning, reach for your intellect and your wisdom. Understand that if things feel heavy and like a burden to you, it's probably because you've got an active pattern of worry inside you, of anxiety inside you. It's all right. You'll find your way through. Release your need for overreaction and melodrama. Release your need to hold on to your anger. It is a friend. I mean, you do need it. Anger is what gets you up off the couch when you've been there for too long, feeling bad about the fact that you're there. But when it becomes a poison inside your body, it's no longer your friend, and now you need to gently release it, but thank it for the function it provided first. So, dearest friend, you're moving so beautifully into the next day, into this new energy. Support yourself lovingly. Remind yourself often that you are guided and protected because you have a very strong intuition, and God within has always been. And so your path back to God and the source within you is a very short walk. We love you.